Let us attempt to do this. Hey, it worked. I think it worked. Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing here in the regular shop, the old, I guess the hot shop maybe. So the lights are still a little bit dimmer than they normally would be. Hopefully we can kind of manage. I might end up messing with some of the camera settings a little bit later. So, over the past couple days, it has been super duper cold, and it's still pretty darn cold out here, but we are finally up above freezing. I feel like it feels more like it's freezing than, we're like 39 degrees Fahrenheit. But there's still so much snow and ice everywhere that it feels a little bit cold still. So, I'm gonna turn on the forge here shortly, and we're gonna get started. So today we are going to be continuing and finishing work on our Mandalorian pauldron. So basically all we really need to do is kind of go over the edges of this pauldron, kind of finish out the decorations, and then we'll be pretty much done with that. I think that it's probably going to take a decent amount of time, but I am like super exhausted because bringing all the equipment from the basement back out here took a lot out of me. So we're going to stream for as long as it takes to finish the pauldron, and then I'll probably go back in the house and rest. So we've got an ad starting in about a minute and a half. I think I can get the forge started by then. We'll heat that up, or I guess we'll start heating. Oh man. You know what? The one thing I forgot to grab is, you got this. Thanks, Corwin. Is my striker. I don't have my striker. It's in the basement. Give me half a second and I will grab that. Apologies. I should have been, or that's like the one thing I forgot today. Oh. Okay. Did it go? There it went. Alrighty, guys, I am back. Apologies. I knew I was going to forget something. The butler is now a striker. Maybe. So yeah, I needed the striker so I could turn on the forge. I only have one right now that functions. So I need it for both the shops. I'll get a new one eventually. Oh, shoot. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to hook up the propane. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. Like I said, we are a little bit discombobulated. And I have a brand new tank of propane today. This one is sponsored by the butler because, yeah, the butler is amazing and oftentimes sponsors our propane. You know what I don't have? What else I don't have? It's my... Let's see. Do I have another one? I have two. It's my wrench. What did I do with my wrench? Goodness gracious, Ray. Get with it. Hey, there it is. There's my other wrench. It's on the ground right here. Let's get this propane all taken care of. That way we can get warm. I'm going to snuggle the propane, snuggle the forge. It's, like I said, it's warmer, but it's definitely cold for me. Apologies, I was trying real hard to get things all set up for you guys before I started the stream, but you know what? There's always something. Always something. Okay. Let's start her up again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wait for the ad. Goodness gracious. So yeah. Hey, Mahalo. Welcome to the stream. Hey, guys. Mahalo. Before I forget, I was able to send out your shirt. The post office said it will arrive by like Friday-ish. So probably Friday or Saturday. My post office is like super duper slow about everything. So I was like, Corwin sent me a package and it tracked yesterday as arriving today, and it was not there when I checked today. So I will be checking again on Wednesday, and we will have a mail call on Wednesday. All right, so let's start this forge. But yes, if you are, I do have a tracking number for your shirt, Mahalo. So remind me, and I will give that to you. I'll PM you on Discord and I'll send that tracking number to you. That way you can kind of track where it's at. All right. Okie dock. We have a functional forge. Whew. Super cold. All right, let's see. Where are my tongs? Those are not the right tongs. Are they on the floor? Man, it's been a while since we've been... Oh, they're right here. It has been a while since we've been out here, so I'm kind of a little bit discombobulated. All right, let's put that guy right in there. So here is the mud horn, and we are going to put that over here. That way I don't lose it, because I still need to affix it onto the pauldron. I mean, it's freezing. I don't blame you. You just found your missing dog. That's exciting. I'm glad. Happy. It would be devastating if I lost my pets. I love my pets. They're my children. I currently have a cat. He's getting kind of old, but he's like an indoor cat. I used to have a dog, but unfortunately she passed away last fall, so I'm still dogless right now. Haven't been in the hot shop since last month. Yeah, we haven't been in the hot shop since last month. Yeah, they just kind of showed up at my door. I'm so happy. I mean, yeah, I would be super happy too. I am so glad that you found your dog. Super exciting. Okay, that's that. This is this. Okay. Oh, so there's like some really fancy bright flames, and that is the microcrystalline wax residue burning off of the pauldron, right? So it's gonna be like that for a little bit, but once it burns off, it won't do that again. So it's gonna take a little bit of time. It'll burn out, and then it'll be done. There's a little bit of smoke, not too much. It kind of smells like a birthday candle. So yeah. Man, the camera's a little bit on the dark side. I need to change some of the settings, but I'm gonna wait on that a little bit. Unless we add more wax. Yes, we might add more wax eventually, but probably not. I believe that we should be able to finish the pauldron today. That is the whole goal of today's stream, is to finish the pauldron. Like I said, it smells like a birthday candle. So you know how when you load up your birthday cake with like a million candles because you're getting old, you know, like ridiculous amounts of, anyway, you blow out the candles and you got that nice waxy smell. That's exactly what that smells like. And we're starting to get rid of it. it's gotten a lot smaller of a flame. It was really big and now it's kind of little. So I can actually read you guys from the forge. I can smell it, right? I'm really excited that I have my second monitor back. I'm super excited about that. That means I can actually read you guys' chat and your comments while I'm standing here at the anvil. And I don't look like weird while I'm like looking in left field for you guys' comments. So yeah. So today we are going to be using the skinny side of the raising hammer that Knots made us. Because, like I said, we are pretty much going to be crisping up all of the corners of the outside edge of the pauldron, kind of creating the lines that we need for the design. This is also a great way to strengthen your pauldron or your armor piece. The more corners you create in your armor piece, the stronger it's going to get, because those become a thicker section, and it kind of makes it a little bit stronger. Yes, it is a hammer light. But we don't need to we're not doing any forging heat. We're kind of moving and pushing steel around, kind of trying to form these ridges. Like I said, they kind of strengthen the pauldron and make it a little bit harder to bend and dent it. That's part of the reason why there are so many like edges and ridges and designs, decorative designs on large scale pieces of armor, like full suits, because it just, the decorations, they strengthen your piece. Unless you're doing like an etching, right? By etching, you are kind of reducing a little bit of the material, and so it is weakening it just a little bit. But if you plan your pauldron correctly, or your piece of armor correctly, you can leave extra material that can be etched away deliberately, and you will retain the strength. There it went. I was like, what do I do with my water? I need a drink. It is super duper cold out here, or in here, I guess. And so breathing is a little bit sharp. You can probably see some of you can see my breath a little bit, or at least I can. So yeah, like I said, we are going to be finishing this pauldron. Does the big furnace look more flamey than usual? Is it that cold? Yes, it looks a little bit more flamey than normal. Or I guess it did. It is still warming up, but it's also lapping up the last of the wax that we poured into the pauldron. So as it burns off that wax, it changes the color just a little bit. Once all of that is gone, it might turn a little bit closer to our normal color, but it's also moving a lot farther than normal. I have taken all of the bricks that I usually keep in the bottom of the forge to kind of close in the space that we're heating. In order to get the pauldron in, I've had to take all of those out to open up the gap. So yes, we do see more flames when the front brick is moved away. I have a whole bunch of like the bottom bricks, and then I also have like little bricks that I stack in front of the forge to kind of close it in a little bit. So yeah. Hey Bluesy, welcome to the stream. Welcome. All right, so we're starting to get a little bit of heat. Yeah, it's the lack of bricks and burning wax. All right, so the pauldron's getting pretty warm. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna move the camera, like the close-up camera, to the butt end of the anvil, and we're going to spend a little bit of time there. We're going to see how well this works. I'm going to be focusing in on the corner, and if that does not work, then we're going to go and look at the stake. I have a secondary stake that has a nice sharp corner. You missed Knott's making a pattern welded bottle opener on his stream yesterday. I saw that he was streaming, but I did not get a chance to see what he was streaming because I was a little bit on the busy side. That's not going to be a very good view. So let me try that one. Maybe not. I don't know. I think that's probably our best bet. Let me make it a tiny bit smaller. There we go. That should work. All right. Yeah, I wish I'd have been able to watch, but I had to go and get groceries, and I had to do a few other errand type things. All right, so we are focusing in on this corner edge. Trying to forge it or anything. We're just kind of trying to follow the crease that we've already made. And bend this sideways. So we started making that nice corner, nice and sharp. We will be using a little bit more here. We're probably going to be going a little bit in like so, but we're going to get more heat first. Pauldrons with a device. Now you just need a helmet and you're the armorer. I kind of am an armorer. A little bit at least. Not like only an armorer. I do a lot of other stuff, but you know, this is the way. I really enjoy doing armor. That's one of the things that I really like doing because it kind of combines my blacksmithing with my silversmithing. And I absolutely love doing silversmithing. Now, Pat, the armorer also made all her tools. Yes, the armorer did make all her tools. I make a lot of my tools. Now, I haven't made all of my tools, clearly, because I did not make my anvil, and Knott's made this hammer for me, but I did make my tongs. I did make my forge. Whoops. And I did make most of the stakes that I'm working with. So I've made a variety of tools. I just haven't made all of my tools, if that makes sense. Man, I have forgotten to fix the drop counter. There's supposed to be a command that will clear the counter, but I haven't been able to fix that yet. I keep forgetting to do it. I will try to do that when I can. You made the forge, kudos. Yeah, I did make the forge. It didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to. And it mostly because I ran out of money when I started making the forge. I had one burner. You can see that I've got the one burner on here. Well, I originally designed this forge to run 2 burners, but I ran out of money, so I could not build my second burner to go into the forge. So it runs really cold. That's why I usually have so many bricks in and around the forge, because it closes in the amount of area that needs heating. I took all of that out so that I could fit the pauldron in. But typically, you know, I always want to try and close it in because it runs so cold. Ran out of money sounds familiar. Yes, definitely. I feel like a lot of people are in that same boat. All right, let's do our next heat. Whew. It's starting to get a little bit warmer in here. Not terribly more warm, but you know, a little bit. All right, so we are focusing in on this corner of the face of the anvil. We're kind of trying to make that curve, or I guess fix that curve a little bit. All right, so we're starting to get that nice lip in there. Let's see. I got to figure out a good way to keep on keeping on with this. What's probably going to happen is I am probably going to have to go and move over to the other guy, the stake. We're starting to get a nice ridge there, but I'm not getting a lot of the interior curve. So I think I definitely need to change from the corner of the anvil to the stake. Then we'll be able to do that pretty easily. But we're going to keep on keeping on. And it'll work eventually. All right. I am at 499 followers. I am. Unfortunately, we just could not quite make 500 on Friday of last week. So hopefully, fingers crossed, someone will happen across us and decide that they want to follow us. So hopefully, like I said, we can get 500 today. That is a goal that I don't really know that I can work toward necessarily. I just, you know, people have to come upon the stream, I think. All right. I can try and make it as entertaining as possible. That's what I can do. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this raising stake. So you can see this guy has a nice corner on that end. I would follow, but that would mean unfollowing first, right? We've got a lot of really good followers here, and I would hate to lose anybody. Hopefully we'll find somebody new that can follow us. All right, so now we've got a nice edge that we can use to kind of give ourselves a backing that's going to be a little bit easier than the corner of the anvil. So yeah, I'm going to move that camera, and we're going to see what we can do with this. Oh. It still smells like burning wax in here, like birthday candles. J.K. Knudsen has rated with a party of 19. Thank you so much, J.K. Knudsen. So today we are working on, I'm Ray, and I am a metal worker. Mostly a blacksmith. Sometimes I'm a silversmith, but you know, I'm a metal worker. And today we are working on a pauldron, a piece of armor. Right now I am adjusting my close-up camera so you guys will be able to see what I am doing very, very nicely. And then I'll show you guys my freezing cold face. There we go. I gotta work around the opposite direction so I don't trip over my cable spaghetti. But yes, welcome to the stream. Thank you guys so much. Oh, we've got a donation from Dewey Loan. Thank you so much for that KoFi donation. Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Welcome to the stream. I'm Ray. Like I said, I am a metal worker. Today we are working on an armor pauldron. This is a, let's see. This is a dress pauldron. It's not a functional pauldron. It's more like a cosplay thing, but it's made out of steel. So, you know, that's really nice. It's kind of cool. Cable spaghetti and flux sauce, something like that. Speaking of flux, I did actually get my flux in the mail finally on Friday. So next time we go down to the jeweler shop, I will be able to solder lickety split. I won't have any trouble at all. I'm super excited about that. Toss a coin to your armorer. She might be a witcher as well. I don't know. I've never killed a monster, you know? At least none that I'm aware of. Unless you count, like, bugs. Would you count, like, you know, a roach or a fly a monster? I mean, some people they are, right? But yes, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Dual, for donating to my KoFi. So what I do with the money that is donated to my KoFi is it goes directly back into the stream. It is most of the time what I do with that money is I buy propane. It costs me $25 a week to supply propane for the stream. That's like a full week and sometimes some change at the end. I've gotten a bucket of water that we've been submerging the propane in, and so that's actually been giving us an extra day. So yeah, I'm sure you've squished a few gremlins. I try, you know. I try, especially the types of gremlins that are, you know, like the scuff gremlins, you know, like the internet monsters and that. Propane fund is at 120%. That's exciting. That's exciting. I don't know if I have recently re-upped it or not, or like the goal or not. But I definitely appreciate any amount that you have donated. So thank you so much. And I will shout you out next week when I change the propane tank again. So I always shout out propane donators or on stream. And then I also make shorts for you guys that I post up on TikTok and YouTube every time I get a donation. So thank you so much. All right, let's do another heat on our pauldron. We've done all our thank yous for the day, for, you know, for the moment, I guess. So let's see about doing some work. I will try to make this exciting for you guys. All right. So today what we're doing is we are working on the edge of this pauldron. So I am working on the inner corner right now. And then we've got an outer corner that we've also got to work on a little bit. So we'll work on that. I'm right-handed, so I'm having a little bit of trouble working this way. I might need to move our... Yeah, I might need to move this guy over to the other side. We might have to move the anvil in order to make room. Yeah. Let's get that nice sharp corner in there. We're starting there. We're getting it. a little bit more heat. These interior corners get a little bit tricky, especially when they are, being forced into a interior curve like that. So we're gonna have to spend a little bit of extra time. Lots of heat's gonna help us. Let's see, where's gonna be the easiest way? Because I'm having a little trouble there. Hey Nimbits, welcome to the stream. So I'm right-handed and I'm having a little bit of trouble. Maybe I'll turn this guy this direction. Then I can come at it from the back like so. So, did I change that correctly? It says on my other program that okay, cool. The delay is being weird. Smurf this, thank you so much for that follow. We are at 500 followers today. Yay! Thank you guys so much for all of your support. 500 followers, that is amazing. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, I hope that I can make it interesting for you guys and entertaining. This reminds me of school and college when we did was humorously referred to as metal bashing, but got a lot more sophisticated than that. We ended up doing annealing, metal folding, and at least 4 types of welding. Yes, 4 types of welding. There's a lot of different welding. I also studied metalworking in college. Yes, I'm super excited for 500 followers. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, I feel like, now that we've got 500 followers, maybe our next goal is like, 600 followers or, 1,000 followers. We're getting really close on our YouTube to 1,000 followers. We just hit 900 followers on YouTube yesterday. I'm super excited about that as well. But yes, thank you guys so much. I feel like, here shortly, maybe I should do another shirt giveaway. I just finished the first shirt giveaway that we did. I think I gave it away 3 weeks ago. I think that maybe I will consider doing another shirt giveaway. Sponsors take note. Yes, I am taking corporate sponsorships. I always try to, sponsor the stream. It's not cheap making this content, but I love doing it, and I'm very much willing to shout out any corporate sponsors. I would rather have corporate sponsors than have to charge or beg for donations from my viewers. I would love to have corporate sponsors of things that you guys might actually want though too. So, and then Gatorade, or gamer subs, I would be all over that, Harbor Freight, things like that. I have 19 followers and I've never streamed. I mean, for when I first started, I didn't have all that many followers either, So, or I guess, what I am trying to say is when I first started streaming, I had a few followers, even though I had never streamed before. But since I started streaming, that's when my follower count really started getting up there, Talk to the local propane company. That's a good idea. The local propane company, I do Blue Rhino, and then there's also AmeriGas that's local to me. I did electrical and electronic engineering, but they said we needed to know how to make the boxes they went in as well. I enjoyed it. Ooh. That would be a very fun class to have, is a welding class that's based on, making the electrical boxes that you guys use, That's actually a really good idea. Sponsored by Blue Rhino and Gatorade, right? That would be amazing. I mean, I could also be sponsored by like you know, some metal supply or something, you know? I am gonna move my camera angle because I changed the direction just because I want this nice and centered for you guys so you can see what I'm up to. So we'll do that while the ad is still going. Okay, we are out of ad time. Cool. So I have a question for you guys. This is my question. I had to move my patch from the basement back up to where it normally is, like my internet patch. I have, you know, a router, and then I have 3 little extender like nodes, and I moved the one from the basement down or back up to the kitchen, which is right next to the shop. But it looks like we're having a little bit of instability. How are you guys? Are you guys seeing the instability, or are? Because I know that I'm buffering quite a bit. How are things on your end? What's going on here? I saw your twin sister. I think she was making jewelry though. Hey, Dr. Optimal. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm doing a little bit of buffering and some frame drops. How is that going? Okay, it's smooth now. All right. Like I said, I had to move my patch from the basement back upstairs. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll start smoothing out and we won't have any more issues. We saw one stutter, but everything seems fine now. Okay. Let me know if it starts really being stuttery because I might have to like reset a few things. But yeah, I don't usually call it out because it's 50 whether it's me or not. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like I said, I'm afraid that I have a little bit of I know that I'm gonna be a little bit on the scuffy side today. So I guess I'm on the lookout for it, if that makes sense. All right. Let's do another heat. Okay. Yeah, it does say that I've got a couple of drop frames. I'm hoping that that's all we've got is a couple of drop frames. Oh, my nose. My nose. I was a little bit ill earlier this week, or I guess last week. And I'm starting to get over it a little bit. All right. All right. We are trying very hard to kind of get these edges nice and crisp. But we're going to be moving between the anvil and this stake, I think. I think our next heat, we're going to come back over to the anvil and kind of flatten out this edge that I've created here. Kind of make sure that we're getting a nice crisp corner. We've got a really wavery corner on this side right now. Huh. I've got some weirdness going on here. Okay. Oh, Blue Rhino is on all the social media, so why not Twitch too? I mean, I don't know. Need to fit the pauldron. Yes, I do need to kind of fit the pauldron around the stake, kind of trying to figure out a good way to like get those extra corners. Like I said, I've got a nice sharp edge on this piece, but you know, I have multiple tools for multiple different jobs. So we're going to use everything that we have available to us. You don't want to drop too many frames. Glass is getting expensive. They tend to drop on the floor, but it's already full of scale, so Ray won't notice. That's so true. I mean, although, you know, glass is really bright and shiny. I think that if I dropped it, I think I'd be able to see it between the scale and the glass. The forge is looking nice in purple and blue now. Yeah, like I said, it will change color as the wax is burned off, and so yeah, that's what's happening. That is what is happening. All right. I want to move the camera so that we can take a look on the face of the anvil. So what I really am going to do, I'm just going to turn the camera because I have an idea of what I want to do, but I want to turn the camera. So I know that we're moving the camera a lot today, but we have a lot to look at today. You're going to totally be able to see the Blue Rhino container, like the label on that, when I change the camera angle. All right, let's do this. I think we're going to put that inset right there. Yeah. We're trying to straighten things out a little bit. You can kind of see that there's a little bit of wavering, and that is because we're kind of bending this in a way that it does not want to bend. So we're going to have to forge it a little bit smoother. So we're starting to get some nice corners in there. We're going to end up focusing in on the central area, or like the inner corner, shortly. But yeah, we're getting there. It's starting to work. Let us little bit. Someone tweet this at Blue Rhino, right? Blue Rhino is a trademark of Fergalus Partners, founded in 1939 in Kansas. The future means the past. The forge ahead with Blue Rhino. Yeah, so I buy the Blue Rhino because that is what my local Lowe's, like, it does the exchange for. And So they have the cheapest price of anybody that is not refilling. So I really like to do the exchange, like the tank switch. And it also makes it a lot easier, like the smaller tanks makes it easier for me to pick them up and change them on my own. So yeah, that is why I use the smaller pigs. It would be a lot cheaper and a lot more efficient if I used a larger propane tank. And a lot of people mention that to me, and I'm well aware of that issue. But if I had it much bigger, I would have to get the butler to help me change the propane tanks every time. And Lowe's is also not a sponsor, but could be. Am I wearing ruby boots? I did actually get some brand new shoelaces for my boots. I bought these boots at like Shoe Carnival, like I don't know how many years ago, but I've been through 3 pairs of shoelaces because the eyes are a little bit sharp. So, but they haven't worn out. I've just been able to wear them and wear them. I've had them for at least, I think I got them in 2019, maybe 2020, sometime in there. So I've had them for at least 5 years, which is incredible for a pair of shoes. It's been forever since I've had a pair of shoes that lasted that long. So yes, I would be all over corporate sponsors. But yeah, I'm still a little bit small, so I think I got a little, or I've got to run the race and, you know, do the stuff before I attract the interest of anybody too big. Where's Lurch when you need him? There's a butler who can change a propane tank of any size. Laces don't last anymore. Sometimes it's hard to find replacement laces. I knew you would be wearing heavy boots. Goes with the territory. Yeah, these are steel toes. But yeah. I can't remember what brand they are. Like I said, they're like, I bought them forever ago. But I love steel toes because then I can set things on the toe caps. And like if I put the anvil on the ground, I can set it and lean it on the toe cap, and then it doesn't hurt my toes, but it gives me a nice finger hold for me picking it back up again. So I do that with like furniture and stuff. You're probably not supposed to do that, but I mean, OSHA, you know, would also require me to wear steel toes in a shop like this. So, could you run the forge on natural gas? I know that's cooler than propane, but I don't know by how much. Theoretically, I could, but I would be using I would have to use a blower with the natural gas, right? So right now with the propane, I've got a self-aspirated burner, which means that there's this hole right here and air gets sucked in to go with the gas down the rest of the tube to feed that fire and make it hotter, right? If I were going to be using natural gas, I would just need to add a blower, just like a blower is needed for coal. So the blower would would bring in enough oxygen to feed that fire. So yes, it is a different torch build. It's starting to get pretty warm in here, but it's still pretty cold on this side of the shop. This side's pretty warm though. Let me get a drink. Alrighty. Let's do another heat. I figured out the clay pipe I bought is a 6-inch flue pipe. Ooh, it's a flue pipe. That actually might be pretty useful. Flue pipe usually is relatively good for reflecting heat because it doesn't want to absorb heat. So I'm starting to have a debate. This is how I would start the piece if I were going to roll the edges, right? So I've started kind of bending them downwards, right? So you can kind of see that from this angle. It's bending downwards. But this is the exact way that I would go about rolling the edge. I have to decide if I'm going to roll that edge. I don't know. I probably won't. We'll see. We'll see as we keep on keeping on. Let's start working on this side over here. Steel toes means you stop worrying. You stop worrying. I have a friend who manages to dent them, but only just. He said he was being stupid. I mean, I've seen some steel toes get dented. I've actually had somebody run over a steel toe. I've seen. Mine are like somebody ran over like the very edge of my boot once, but it was only like the little edge that sticks out, not the actual steel toe. But a friend of mine, somebody drove over their steel toe, and that wasn't pleasant. And you could definitely hurt yourself a lot doing that. So there is a way to dent a steel toe, and they're not 100% safe. There's always something that could happen to your feet. So you got to be careful still. Did your flux come for your soldering? Yes, it did. It came on Saturday. So it was not there at all on Friday. It came on Saturday at around 3:34 p.m. So I would have been waiting a really long time for that flux on Friday. I know I've been away for a few days, but I didn't think you'd be angry enough to need a shovel. It's lovely to be missed, I guess. How am I? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. So today what we're doing is we're working on finishing up the decorations on our Mandalorian pauldron. So when I decorated the pauldron, I wasn't able to get a very deep and sharp corner on the outside edge of the pauldron. So today we're kind of going back over it with some heat to give ourselves a little bit more of an edge, literally. So yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little bit on the tired side. Moving all of the equipment from the basement back up here, it gave me a little bit of, I'm a little bit tired. But we're working through it, and I feel a lot better than I did, even just 30 minutes ago. So we're keeping on keeping on. My steel toe got dented where I couldn't wear the boots anymore. A casting fell on them. Ooh, yuck. Yeah, that understandable. Understandable. One of my friends, like I said, had their steel toe get run over by a car. Not like a big old truck or anything, just like a regular car. And after that, they couldn't wear them either because it kind of bent the cap down towards the foot a little bit. So it made it more uncomfortable to wear them. So they had to get a new pair of steel toes. I had a car run over my bare foot. I have a picture of the thread tread somewhere. Ooh. Yeah, that does not sound pleasant one bit. Not one bit. I hope you're okay now. I mean, it feels like that's something that would shatter your entire, like all of the bones in your foot. So I hope that you're able to heal and that you're fine walking again. All right, let's move the camera over that way. I have been doing a little bit of some weirdness, and I don't know that you guys have been seeing everything that I'm trying to show you. So I really want to make sure that you see everything that I got to show you. So we're going to try this. I think that's all right. In a few, we will go back over to the steak, but I've got a little bit more that I think I can do on the butt end of the anvil. All right. Let's do another heat. And I gotta make sure that you guys can see. My tongs are being a butt right now. Making it a little bit difficult on me, but we can make up for that. All right, now we've got a nice lip that's been built up. We're gonna keep on keeping on that. Let's see. See, my problem is that I'm right-handed. The next best thing to do would actually be to come over on the horn of the anvil, and we might do that. I do want to get this little edge here folded over a little bit. Then we're going to come inside and do that inside edge. I'm trying, guys. We're getting it, slowly but surely. The forge is definitely a purple flame and an orange glow now. Has the smell of wax faded? It has. It has definitely faded. Although there is a little bit of wax and some tape on the outside edge, and when I flipped it like that, you can kind of see it's feathering off of the pauldrons, or like the curve of that pauldron. It is also hitting a little bit of that tape and that goo, so it's I don't smell anything too terribly nasty, but you know. I have an advantage and a disadvantage of being sinister, equally bad with both hands. I can lose at any sport with either hand, but not look terrible. See, my problem is that I'm kind of useless with my left hand. I mean, we can try it. We'll try it. But I'm pretty sure that I just don't have the accuracy with my left hand that I do with my right. We got an ad starting here shortly. So we'll see if I get to beat the ad or if I have to If I switch tool hands, I'd start swinging the tongs. That'd be bad. That's probably what I would do too, but we're going to see. We're going to see what actually happens. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to be a lefty, I guess. Let's see how well this goes, guys. Let's see how well this goes. Man, I'm not even holding this correctly. This is really awkward, actually. But that's exactly what I need to do. So you know what? You know what? I don't have to stand behind the anvil now, do I? I don't have to stand behind the anvil. All right, I did accidentally move a little bit of this metal in the wrong direction, so we're gonna go back and have to do a little bit of interestingness. But we'll get around to it. But remembering things, guys, I don't have to stand behind the anvil. I can stand in front of it. And hopefully you guys can still see over my shoulder. So we've got a little bit going there. So I gotta figure out what we're gonna do next. I have an idea. This is a right side pauldron. You can work left-handed next time, right? Most people are very right-handed. Around 10% are very left-handed. A few are not especially biased. It can be handy, but it does mean that you're not specialized at all. Yeah, I am very right-handed. I can do a few things with my left hand, like a few things that do require being dexterous, but not quite. It's more like guitar. Like you have to, when you are playing a guitar, you create the chords with your left hand. I can do things like that, but I feel useless with my left hand. All right, we're gonna go over here because I need to work a little bit on the interior of this piece. We're gonna see what we can do. So today we're a little scuffy and a little discombobulated, and I apologize for that. Hopefully, on what day will it be? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday is our next stream. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier and a little bit better. For Wednesday's stream, the plan is to make another set of silverware, or at least start another set of silverware. I have made silverware on stream before, but I feel like the last time we did that was spring of last year. And we've made a lot of progress with our forging since then. So I think what we're going to do is kind of do a forging checkup to see how we're doing. Wednesday. That's how I learned to spell and pronounce it. That way. Yeah, we've got an ad going on right now. So once this ad is over, we will continue working. Continue working. Ads smell funny. Nobody wants that. Yep, ads do smell funny. So we are going to start working back on the steak again, because we're going to start working on the interior line that we created with our chisel. We might end up having to use the chisel again at some point, but I think we can get our corner on, or using the steak. Hey Jack Frost, welcome to the stream. Super Bowl ads starting this week. Yes, the Super Bowl is on Sunday. I don't even know who's playing. I'm not a big football fan, guys. You guys have to talk or teach me all about it, you know? I in the past, I've watched the Super Bowl, but mostly for the food and the companionship and, you know, the halftime show. So I am very bad at the football, and I feel like maybe I should start. Who told you my name? Maybe I should start being a football fan. I mean, Taylor Swift started becoming a football fan. Maybe I should too. I don't know. All right. Let's see how well this works. We're going to do another heat. Let's see. Where's the inset going to be? I think I'm going to put the inset right over there. Fingers crossed this works the way I think it will. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. We shall see. If I hang this off the edge. Nope, it's not wanting to. So let's see, what can we do? I think I know what I need to do, but it's not something I want to do, man. I don't want to have to go and do the wax thing again. But I think I might have to. All right, we're starting to get it. We're starting to get it. Okay. All right, it's starting to work. All right, like I said, we've got our full outside edge done now. Now I got to look at our inside edge. So I got to figure out what we're going to do. Are we going to do it this direction maybe? We might do it this direction. I don't know. That might be the way to go. I don't know. Let me think about this for a moment. We're going to put this back in the forge, and then I'm going to think about this for a moment. You don't call it sports ball, do you? Sometimes I call it sports ball, but only when I'm trying to, like, you know, get somebody's goat. When I'm giving someone a hard time, sometimes I go with that, but not a lot. Some USAns are participating in sports ball. The rest of the world, more people watch some mediocre cricket matches. The numbers for India versus Pakistan at cricket make the US TV weep. I'll bet. Because, I mean, some of those, like, real football, not American football, but, like, real football, which we call soccer, the amount of fans that that game has. They're just all around the world. I feel like the United States is like the only people that don't actively like have a incredibly rooted for, soccer team. So cricket too. We don't do cricket. We don't do soccer. We don't do, what is it? Rugby? Isn't that like a really popular sport around the world that we don't do? American football is just a messed up version of rugby anyway. I've heard that before. When the zombies show up, we all know where to get our armor. So this armor is not, it's not high enough thickness to be able to deflect much in the way of damage or to take much damage. This is more of a decorative piece, decorative work. It's 20 gauge sheet steel. In order to get really good armor, you need a 10 gauge piece of sheet steel. Soccer is the second most played sport in the USA. Baseball is the first, or basketball is the first. Is it? Well, I guess with kids, but we don't have like a big team. Like we spend more money on football and baseball, like professional games. We do have a professional soccer team. It's just they aren't as well known, I feel like our soccer team is kind of crappy anyway. Our women's soccer are really good though. From what I've heard, we've won like the World Cup a couple times. But yeah, our men's soccer, not popular in the United States. We do actually have a St. Louis soccer team though, or I guess football team. We don't have an American football team anymore. The American football team for St. Louis moved to, I think, California, the Rams. Now we just have the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what everybody roots for these days. But yeah, we just don't have a big following for the U.S. men's soccer. Few people play American football. Very few play baseball. It's mostly young people that play sports. That's very true. There aren't a lot of people that play non-professional, or like adults that play non-professional sports. So yeah, that's very true. All right, I'm gonna pull this out. Actually, like I said, I need to think about this. How am I gonna go about it? Sorry guys, like I said, I'm trying to think about how I want to go about this next heat. Cardinals football used to be in St. Louis before your time. That's true. We also are not a big Cardinals fan in the St. Louis area because they also abandoned us. There's a lot of beer league softball. Is there? I know that there's like a lot of intramural teams for various sports in colleges, but I kind of feel like after college, people kind of get jobs and they have families and they just don't have time to do sports as much. What do I need to do? How am I going to go about this? That's not one that's going to work very well for this. I may end up having to. Let me take a look at this. We're gonna move things around a little bit, kind of give myself an idea of what I'm trying to do. We've got the outer edge pretty much where I want it to be. It's the interior edge that I'm not thrilled with right now. This is kind of what I'm trying to do. Kind of what I'm trying to do, but not exactly. Ordinarily, that would work. Maybe if I come at it from this direction, let's see how well it'll work if I do this. It always stinks doing one side then the other side, you know? It's working a little bit. You can kind of see there that I've got a little bit of a little bit going. I might try that on the face of the anvil, though. It'll be a little bit lower, and I might be able to work it pretty easily. Let me try that. I know I keep changing my camera angle, and I keep trying different things, but this is like a relatively delicate process. I'm trying not to squish things. I'm trying to make it do what I want, but it's not cooperating. Not cooperating. But we'll get this done. We'll get it done. Okay, we're back. So yeah, I'm gonna hold the piece here, and we're gonna hammer this direction. I think it'll work for us. I'll try to make it work for us. So yeah, when I was a kid, I played softball for like 2 seasons. I played in 3rd grade and then I played in 6th grade. But I did not play for a really long period of time, so I was never very good. I kind of feel like if you're gonna be good, then you gotta start playing when you're really little and then continue playing for a really long time. And by the time I became an adult, I just wasn't, amazingly interested in sports. I was more interested in theater and music and that sort of thing, I think. The adult game is golf because you can drink and drive a cart while you play, right? I kind of feel like it's a little bit dangerous the way people drink and drive the little carts because, I know that they're not quite as dangerous as driving a car, but they're not that much less, they're not that, because you can still hit somebody with a golf cart and that would hurt. You could still crash the cart, I don't know. All right, let's try this. Let's see how well this goes. Let's see how well this goes. We're starting to get it. It seems to be working the way I want it to. For the most part, anyway. So then we come over here like so. And I'm going to move over this way. And we can get a little bit more If I hold it like so, maybe we can get a nice edge in there. And then back this direction. Kind of fix it because it's starting to, it goes a little bit wonky every time I try and do this. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's starting to get that nice edge in there. Now we need to work on this edge. So we're going to heat this back up and work on the opposite edge. It's working a lot better, I think. Yeah, all that happens too. I mean, you can't really get a ticket for drinking and driving a golf cart, but sometimes I think maybe you should, Golf, a good walk in the country spoiled. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not amazingly, I'm not amazingly sports oriented. I don't have a lot of experience with sports, nor do I have a lot of interest in it. But, you guys probably have a lot of interest in sports, and, I respect that. I respect that. It's just, you kind of have to pick and choose your hobbies, My hobbies become, then you turn your hobbies into jobs. At least that's what I did. I am, a blacksmith, but then I also have hobbies of like playing video games and stuff like that. So I end up spending more time playing video games and watching TV than I do like watching sports. All right, it seems to be working. Seems to be working. I'm gonna turn this around a little bit. That way I can hold it from the opposite side. Like so. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So yeah, once that heats up, we will do our second side. And I'm hoping that we're able to make it happen. Hopefully. So yeah, like I said, on Wednesday, we're going to start working on a new set of silverware. We started working on the silverware, we made a set of silverware last spring, so I want to see how well we do. How much better we do by making a second set of silverware. We have spent a whole year forging out here and practicing and learning, and I want to see how much better we've gotten. And so, yeah, that'll be our next project, is a set of silverware, a fork, knife, and a spoon. I think what's going to happen is Wednesday will be all day fork. Friday will be all day spoon, and then Monday will be all day knife. I think that's how it's going to work for you guys. And then after that, I have to decide what our next project's going to be. We're going to do a larger scale project. We might be doing a second attempt at a raising hammer, which is what this guy is right here. This one was made by Knots, and I want to make my own. So we started making one several weeks ago, but it didn't go well for us. I ended up cracking it, I ended up cracking it really badly. So I need to start from scratch. And I think what I'm going to do is modify our punch, because it's really fat, and I think that's why we cracked our steel. So we'll probably kind of thin that out a little bit and see if we can do a little bit better a job. That's knife. May you have many spoons. Twitch won't let me comment on forks. Yeah. We're going to make a fork. A 2-prong fork. Not a 3-prong fork. Because it's a lot easier to make 2 than 3 prongs. I did make a 3-prong fork at one time. Like the last time we made a set of silverware, I did make a 3-prong fork. But we ended up cutting the tines instead of forging them. And so we're going to do the 2-prong one. I want to make it prettier too. I also have a few other things that I want to try. Fork with 3 prongs is a trident. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But yeah, like I said, there is another idea I had, and I'll get to that in a few. We're getting there. We're getting there. Whoops, as I drop it. All right, so we've got this side done relatively well and that side done relatively well. So the next thing that we need to do is go all the way around the top and this base. So those are going to be our next couple of things that we're going to do. So after our silverware project, I have 2 or 3 more projects that I want to do, and I don't know what order I want to do them in. I want to make a pair of scissors. I want to make the raising hammer, and then I want to make a drift, or like a new drift for another axe. Because a lot of people have been asking me to do another axe attempt in the video comments for the axe that we made last fall. So in order to make that, though, I'm going to have to make a new drift, because the drift that we made previously was too small, like way too small. So I will have to do another crack at that, make sure that everything is at least 2.5 inches wide at the widest point. It can be like really thin at the bottom, but it has to taper all the way up to 2.5 inches in width. Scissors sound different. Yeah, I want to make a set of scissors. So basically what I need to do for that is create 2 blades with drawn out like lengths of metal that wrap around. So, you know, making a full set of scissors. And it's going to take a lot of precision, and it's going to take a lot of grinding and finishing work. So it's going to be a stretch for things that I like to do, but you know what? Sometimes I need to stretch my muscles and make sure that I remember how to do things. So yes, the scissors will actually be 2 blades that we rivet together and create a pair. So I think that'll be a fun project. There's been a couple people who have posted videos on YouTube recently making a set of scissors, and I want to try my hand at it too. So that's one of the projects that I want to do after our set of silverware. Always learning by pushing the boundaries. Exactly. That's what we do here. We push the boundaries of our abilities, and we learn what we can, and then we try again if we fail. All right, we've got another ad break starting very soon. Hey, Blue Red Metal, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. So, like I said, we've got an ad that's starting in about 2.5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one more heat. We'll see what happens. All right. See if we can't beat the ad. All right. This is a little bit challenging because we've got to maintain that round while also flattening things out a little bit. So we're going to have a little bit of a challenge with this one. A little bit of a challenge. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. We've got a nice corner going right there. And we've got a nice corner going right here. All the way up on both sides. So yeah, we just got this section here and this whole top. That we're going to try. So yeah, like I said, we've got an ad here shortly. I actually was able to beat the ad. That's always fun. I inherited a pair of forged scissors from my dad. No idea where he got them, but they look ancient and are razor sharp. I should use them instead of having them on the wall. I mean, there's no shame in putting old tools to use, you know? A lot of old tools work so much better than the new versions of said tools. I am constantly looking for new hammers that are well, new to me hammers that are used because they're just so pretty and they work so well. They're well balanced and, you know, a little bit of elbow grease and you can put them back into function. But then, I mean, you can also use they're neat decorations too, you know? We're getting real close to being done with this piece. I will have to do a bunch of cleanup for it, just to polish it and shine it up. I will be doing that this weekend, so I'm probably not going to show the polishing stage of this, but I will post the shined up piece with the emblem on it and everything. Goodness. So yeah. We are at an hour and a half already. I'm actually pretty excited that we've made it to the hour and a half mark. Like I said, when I started this stream, I was really tired because getting all of the gear and bringing it up the stairs. Stairs, for whatever reason, are my nemesis. Like when I when I got sick, it was stairs that really took it out of me, and it made me really, really exhausted. So I ended up taking like 7 or 8 trips up and down the steps, and that was quite a lot. So I'm pretty excited that I'm not exhausted yet. But I'm getting there. So yeah, once we get these edges done, I will probably end up ending the stream a little bit early so that I can rest a little bit. I want to make sure that I am refreshed for Wednesday's stream when we are starting our new project. So we probably have about another half an hour worth of messing with this piece. Once we get the edges done, we will need to do a lot of finish work. I've got to take the pauldron and make sure that I need to use the wire wheel to kind of get all of the scale off of it, and that's also going to start polishing it up, and then I get to try and shine up the pauldron. I will have to do some welding to get the emblem on there. So I probably won't show all of that on stream, but I will probably show you guys the finished pauldron once I get it nice and polished, and it will definitely be on YouTube. So yeah. All right, let's do another heat. All right. Got that nice and punched out. Now we need to do these interior on this side. Let's see how well we can manage that. The worst part is that the corner of the anvil is kind of creating a little indent divots, and I gotta be a little bit careful about that. Little bit careful. As I drop it. But yeah, you can definitely tell that we have added a lip all the way around here. So that makes me very happy. Now I want to go around the center stripe and kind of make sure that we have a nice curve there. slowly but surely, we are decorating this piece. But yeah, slowly but surely. There's one more thing that I think that I could do. One more thing, but I will have to. Okay, so after I go through that central ridge, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down into the basement shop, the silversmithing shop, and I'm gonna grab the sandbag and and the chisel, and we're gonna see if we can't clean up just a little bit more. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. Apologies if my brain seems a little discombobulated today. Like I said, I'm a little bit tired, so I think I can manage it though. Oh, I keep stepping on this bundle of wire. A bundle of wire. How is our propane? Starting to freeze up, but that's all right. We're almost done. We're almost done with the propane. So, yeah, we're getting real close to being finished with this pauldron. I'm pretty excited. All right. Let me check my camera real fast, and then we'll do another heat. The goal there is to get all up inside here and flatten that corner up there. And then we'll need to do it on this other side as well, this side. So that one, what's a good way to do that? I'll probably go on the opposite side and I will stand on this side of the anvil, so you'll probably see my back in the inset, but that way you guys should be able to see me working on that edge. We've got a good corner and a good flat on that side. Now we need to work on the other. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. But I am getting a little bit tired, unfortunately. Little bit tired. Let's see. It's gotten a little bit warmer recently. All last week it was super, super cold, and that's why we ended up in the silversmithing shop. I am planning on finishing the ring that we started down there last week. I have two streams of just that, so I will be going down there and finishing that ring eventually. But I think what I need to do is I'm planning on spending all next week or all this week here. So we might finish the ring sometime next week. I haven't decided yet. We will definitely be spending a little bit more time in the silversmithing shop, kind of dividing our time a little bit. I want to spend more time here in the blacksmith shop, but I would have some project ideas for things that I want to do down in the silversmithing shop. So we are Ray's Smithy, not Ray's Blacksmithy. So I want to do a little bit of expanding our repertoire. So I hope you guys are okay with that and you like the silversmithing shop. But yeah, I want to find a way to like make it a little bit easier for me to do it though. The whole bringing all of the gear up and down the stairs is a little bit much. So I think I need a couple of, like a tripod down there and then a second capture card maybe. I'll figure it out. But bringing all the stuff up and down is I need to streamline it. All right, let's do this. So like I said, I'm going to walk around the opposite side of the anvil. So we can kind of look this direction and get that edge that we're looking for. I want to flatten it out just a hair. Just like we did on the opposite side. All right, that worked pretty darn well. So we've got a nice ridge down that central area. And we've got our ridges all the way around. It's a couple areas that it's not perfect, but we're kind of getting there. So yeah, I think we've got it for the most part. I do want to, it's still a little bit on the soft side, so I might end up taking the chisel and sharpening things up just a hair, but I think we're all right. I think we're all right. Okay. You can definitely see from the inside that we've got a nice 2 hemispheres on this guy. Streaming Studio 2.0, exactly. Like I said, I want to kind of streamline it so that I don't have to bring all of the gear up and down. I think really it's the tripods that are the inconvenient part. You know, I move the cameras and the laptop every single time, but yeah. Wait, you have to pre-curve the Mudhorn badge, or does that take care of itself? Oh, you're right. I do need to curve the Mudhorn badge. You're right. I have another step that I totally forgot about. What did I do with the Mudhorn? Right there. So here's the Mudhorn right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of 5/8 inch stock and I'm going to put it in the forge as a prop. So I can prop the Mudhorn on that so that I can actually pull it out when I want to. But yeah, you guys are so right. I need to affix that like so on there. I forgot about that step, guys. I forgot about that step. Okay. Yep, we're good. So it goes like so. I don't want to touch myself with it because, you know, it's still hot. But we are going to be putting it on like so. It looks pretty good though. Just like so. You can definitely set or see the edges around the whole thing. Pretty excited about that. It is kind of a trust the process thing because it is very covered in fire scale, and I kind of got to make sure that I'm a little bit careful with it. But I think it's all right. I think it looks pretty good. I got to clean it up though. It'll look better when I clean it up. Wonder. Yeah. It'll look really nice, I think. So yeah. There's a little bit of glue still on it. It's warm, but it's not too hot. I think it's all right. I can pick it up. It's actually relatively hard, you know? That's what happens when you put the ridges in there. It makes it a lot harder. So I'm going to put this over here for a moment. And then the other thing that we're going to do, we are going to grab this guy. And, or maybe I want to do it this way. I think we're going to do it this way. Let me focus on that horn real fast. We're going to move the camera all the way over here so you guys can see that. Trying to focus it up. I think it'll be all right there. Okie doke. Hey, Chris. Welcome to the stream. All right, so we're going to put it on that side. So we need to actually, we curved it the wrong direction, I think. I think this is the side we need to curve it. let me grab it off the floor. Oh, look. It kind of bent a little bit when I dropped it. You know what? No, I don't have any water right now. I think it'll be all right. I'm gonna put it back in the forge real fast. So this goes on here like so, and then the mud horn comes on like right there. So let me see if I can't find my chalk real fast. What do I do with my chalk? I kind of want to mark where I want to put it, you know? I've lost my chalk, or I guess not my chalk, it is a soapstone. Here's a piece. Here's a piece of soapstone. All right, so we want to put it kind of the emblem like so. So it's a little bit of a, let's see how well this goes. Put that over there. Let's try this again. Like so. So yeah, we got to curve it a little bit like that across there. All right, I need to make this a little bit, I think I need to cool it down is what I need to do. Yeah, I think I need to cool it down. So I'm not going to use the forge anymore. We're going to cool this guy down. And we'll see what we can do with it. Still a little too hot. This is pretty thin material, so it shouldn't take too long. It shouldn't take too long. All right, so it's a little bit too curved now. Almost there. And kind of show you guys what I'm looking at here. So if you take a look at that, there's a little bit of a gap there. But I like the horn. So we're going to do a little bit of flattening maybe on like so. All right, let's check it again. It's a little bit closer. We need to curve this side a little bit. Try it again. Oops. Now I made it a little bit too much. That seems to be what I keep doing. Because we've gotta put that on there like so. So I gotta. That's better. That's better. Almost. Almost. Close. Very close. I think the next thing that we're going to need to do is kind of forge it or like weld it on there, and then we'll be able to forge it on there just a little bit closer. But yeah, so yeah, my accessory anvil horn is pretty handy. So we've got it on just like so, like that. And it'll sit there just like so. So yeah, I think the next thing that I need to do is kind of tack this on there. And then I'll be able to flatten it out a little bit easier once it's tacked on. But yeah, you're right. I needed to put that on there, and now it's relatively curved. So I think that's pretty good. But yeah, I am getting a little bit tired. So I think looks great. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I hope you guys like it. Like I said, I do need to do a little bit of cleanup work. And that cleanup work includes doing a little bit of rejiggering. And definitely we will be doing like polishing this. Right now it's like full of fire scale and the like regular scale. So I need to shine this guy up. And then I will also see about taking another chisel or another pass with the chisel on this. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. Like so. So yeah. But yeah, I think I am going to end the stream there because, like I said, I'm getting real tired. My brain is not functioning quite on all 4 cylinders. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope to see you guys on Wednesday. Yeah. Thank you guys. Any suggestions for who you guys would like to raid? Yeah, you too, Corwin. Have a great evening. Let's see. Hopefully my brain will work a little bit better on Wednesday too, you know? All right, let's see. We got Mr. Boombody. or Miramac. Let's go visit Miramac, guys. Let's go visit Miramac. If I could spell, that would work. Hang on. All right, well, let me check again. How do we, oh, that's why. I flipped the E in the I. There we go. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye, guys. Perfect.